So I decided to share a piece that I wrote about like 5 or 6 years ago, something like that. I was in high school when I wrote it, and before I start to share this, mind you that it is kind of gruesome and sad. I mean, I don't, I don't really know exactly, but I would say that children, like small children, probably shouldn't hear it because it is a little darker and sad. It's called Voice. Close your eyes and take a deep breath. Picture a small boy sitting in an empty room. In the middle of his floor with teardrops rolling down his tender cheeks. A pool of tears is forming between his legs. He holds his head down, showing pain and defeat. Every day he goes to school hoping each day will be different. That each new day will maybe make a friend. The kid is the kids in his class won't laugh at him. That he won't feel left out or alone. Most days he goes home to an empty house with little to no food, going hungry most nights. Nights when someone is home, he gets beaten and abused by his mother's boyfriend that beats and abuses them whenever he feels. The man sits and tells the boy that he will never amount to anything, that his dad never loved him, and that's why he left, when really the boy's father died on the job as a policeman, and his mother has been meaning to tell him, but she is always too drugged up or drunk to tell him. But the man carries on abusing the and beating the child till he runs into his room and locks the door, trying to hide, find an escape in an empty room, and he falls asleep crying with his head between his knees. One day he walks into school and his teacher notices a black and blue mark starting to form. She asked what it was from, and he lied and said it was from him falling down the stairs. She pretended to believe him and called his mother. When he got home, he was beaten because the teacher called. When it was over, he went into his room with a knife and started to play with it, touching the point to his tender soft skin, then making small cuts. Realizing the pain goes away for a while, letting him forget for a while. This went on for many years before anyone noticed. He started to get friends and become happy, but still not happy enough. I mean, yes, he started to get things in his room, like a bed and lights, a few posters, and a fan on the ceiling, but yet it still wasn't enough. The boy from a broken, loveless home felt shallow and broken inside. That was the boy who committed suicide because he could not deal with his life anymore, not seeing any point to living. This is the story of what he wrote before he hung himself from his ceiling fan on the third floor of his apartment. Now, I know this was more gruesome and a different turn to what I usually share, but let me shed some light on it. When I was in high school, I remember my mom telling me about how this little boy, maybe 9 years old or something, had taken a gun and shot himself because he was being bullied. This child was so sad and overcome with pain that he only felt like he could take his life. And by no means is this, how do I put it? By no means is this a small thing, and I feel bad, and it hurts me inside a little bit to know that people go to these lengths because they're so unhappy, because they see no other way, and that disturbs me, and I hope it disturbs all of you as well. I mean, it's sad to say that I was somewhat inspired by this tragedy to write this, but I feel like it has a good depiction of what happens and what goes on in the world today, and I hope everyone can see that and wants to make a change. Thank you.